thing is that Monarch's comp actually does counter a lot of aggression with that fade, with that raise, being able to get info from the Roomba, as well as a lot of that fade and raise nade tether. I almost slipped up on that one. That was crazy to say. And being able to deny a lot of that information, but also being able to speed up in really good circumstances here. They have the double satchel able to go, and the rest of the team looks like they're going to be able to follow, because they're starting right off the bat in a 4-1. Sorry, make that 5-0. Willow putting that wall down series just to deny any of those super fast flanks. And it's going to be really interesting to see how they start this off, and if their aggression is going to pay off. As I say that, they're holding passively, because like I said, Mask, their comp is so good at being aggressive, and they have so much confidence from that last game.
Yeah, Monarch wait out for just a moment. Now can work on in. This Viper Roll does have a gap on it on ramp, but that's not going to cost them just yet. I'm concerned though. Mask have already moved 3 people in through vents. They are completely prepared for this fight. There's even a Vise wall here. Early procced on that one. Maybe Mask revealing their hand. Both walls come down. It's a boost up over the wall. Logic is there to trade, but Fate secures a couple of their own. Bit of a mess there on ramps. As now Monarch set their eyes on the site itself. Wise wall must have been tripped on the lurk coming in too. No, it's so shallow as a matter of fact. Swerve, though, will be turned around on and taken out of the equation. So now Monarch can make that long sprint over towards the B site.
Yeah, that was so chaotic, but the op to kind of slow down and just hold. Splitting up here might not be the best, but making all this noise from Fate, getting onto B is actually going to pull those 2 rotates over here under. And a free orb. I think they take those.
Yeah, it ends up working. Fate was on 22 HP, so even though Monarch had the numbers advantage, they're willing to sort of throw them out there to sell the fake and even get a bonus orb. Now you're going to have that late lurk through mid. It's a very safe plant, though, is the only problem, because they weren't convinced necessarily they were safe from heaven. So that late lurk from Fate might not actually have the best angle to work off of. These opening kills are going to be big. If Mask can get them quickly, Fate is in a really tough position. But a good tether will halt Mask for a moment. Now Chiyu steps up into the swing. And Smolkra is alone as well. It's a good paranoia, but no one to swing off of those shots. Now Fate on 22 health. It's not planted for the Vise. And the smoke, it's already being stuck down. No way! Just blind through the smoke, but it's returned instantly. Of course, Rotten will get it done. And after it all, Mask went out in the 2-on-3 to take this pistol.
Monarchs, they were so close to getting that. Every single thing that they did after that initial fight actually went really well. Getting Fate on that lurk was really nice on the fast flank, being able to hold from a different position in that post plant. But the problem was the fact that they just didn't fight that elbow side together. Knowing that they had Omen Paranoia, they definitely should have had some sort of crossfire off contact with the Paranoia or swinging together. It was a 2v2 on site. Unfortunately, they did lose that out, but they are forced to be on an eco here. I say that, but they've got these stingers in hand as well, an outlaw. Farming that orb, definitely one of the best things you can do when you're on a low buy. And Masked, they're not looking to be too over aggressive, just holding because they know that they have the better weapons in this situation.
Yeah, Fate could have a Steel Garden in round 2 after losing pistol. Just needs to secure this orb in B main. That might be what Monarchs were forcing up around.
Yeah, maybe.
Thinking if they can get this ultimate online, they can swing this game back in their favor, and that's exactly what they're doing. Fate's going to pick that one up, but I think all these players are going to be out of range of the Steel Garden anyways, trying to flood into the site. Crazy pathing from Zoe just to be there, and Snowy just swings out from the smoke. Unexpected as Swerve now enters into the fray. It is a mess, and Mask are solving it by throwing bodies at the problem. Now Monarch, not only have they lost this round after forcing up, but they also threw that early ultimate into the mix to just add insult to injury.
Yeah, that was actually insane because Mask had unintentionally perfectly countered what MOX was trying to do. Snowy playing off of that site, playing in B heaven, sorry, the whole time, just holding, knowing that if they do execute, they could just play retake and flood back in with the rest of their team. And it worked out because that Steel Garden went down and they knew exactly how to play around it. They just waited for it to go off, and as soon as it was done, they went back in. But now an actual Thrifty coming in from MOX. They're opting to play towards this mid, 3 towards here, but Swerve is holding this angle.
We'll shy away from it. Line up with their teammate. Working a little high-low on the stairs.
Scout destroyed.
And Monarchs don't really capitalize off the paint shells at all, just accept a little bit of chip damage. Trading out on both fronts. Willow has been able to work up onto ramp and will end up spotting this Vise wall, just like on the pistol. Really taking their time, but I think that was just through a smoke down bottom mid. Full guesswork from Logic, but it doesn't even matter. Pretty honorable from Logic to bring a Sheriff into this round when that's all Monarchs can buy on the other side. I appreciate it. And even then, still getting the best of their opponents and managing to even it out there as well. I'm worried about this A side, Athena.
Yeah, they're hitting right into all that Vice util. And that's just going to be the first thing of contact for them.
And Willow is waiting behind the wall up in heaven. Exactly right. Now with Rotten down, all the utility turned offline, an easy plant to be found from Monarch. But they've lost a 2v3 position in this exact same spot before. And this time it's Logic for a third. On for an ace, actually. Upgrading from the Bulldog. And now trying to work back in. Both these players have Sheriffs. But full armor from the mask members is deadly. Zoe's going to need to do this on their own. Wrapping all the way around. Has time to play with. And switching to the Outlaw, only one bullet in the tank. Has to be quick with it, and will be. The quick switch onto the spike now. Sticking it over to half. How far are they willing to go? Zoe comes out around the corner and now needs to get back on it, but doesn't have all the time in the world, was going for the full stick. And Chiyu will feast and find Monarch's first kill.
Monarchs finally getting that round under their belt, and it was off of a Thrifty. And honestly, the way they played it was really nice. Blair, of course, getting those 2 picks in mid was absolutely one of the main reasons why they won that in the mid round. But what I like to see was Fate using that Vice Flash and peeking together with their teammate on site. That's exactly what I wanted from them from that pistol round and from that second round, making sure that they're just trading and in really nice positions to do so. But now they have the rifles. Both these teams do, though. Swerve with that Odin, the Neon Odin that we've seen so many times today to enable a push.
Oh, Fate! How about that? Quick on the transfer. Way to just take the advantage there for Monarchs. You're going to need some heroes to step up like that in a major moment. And instantly the round has just been blown wide open. I've got my eyes on Logic. Working the flank and working it so quickly, catching Fate completely off guards. Fate had no clue anyone could step up that quickly. And now with the Seekers honing in on targets for Logic and the rest of Mask, it is Swerve to capitalize. 2 kills instantly. Seizes control back for Mask. With Rotten stepping up and delivering time and time again. There are no surprises that Mask have taken this one for themselves.
Oh my goodness, I don't even know how Mask managed to do that. Logic with a really nice lurk. But then Swerve getting 2 picks while MOX is trying to get into that post-plan position. And then the Seekers following them all the way towards that B heaven. That was so unlucky for MOX. Really needed to break that Seeker so they don't give away all that information about that about them playing in that B heaven. Sorry. And now they're back down to this Thrifty. The Sheriff's on hand. But it doesn't mean they're out because they've done this a lot now. This is going to be the third round on Sheriffs where they've gotten some really good picks and they've managed to turn it around in the mid round.
Monarchs have a Fate ult and not too far off some others. So we'll see. Fate gonna farm that up and continue trying to work the map. I feel like Monarchs have consistently been able to get pretty free control over B main and A main. This A main in particular has been especially weak. It's always the fight over mid for Mask. I'm just not sure if Monarchs actually want to take this fight. They try to throw down a smoke, but the Odin damage is just relentless going through it. Blair hasn't even really been able to play the game much this half. He's getting cut down before even the opportunity of a fair fight. Snowy will work back towards screens. Rotten is really being tasked covering so many different spots, but even just having the presence of mind to swing out there and cover for Snowy is exactly what you're asking for. Fate's behind enemy lines, but that Odin is doing gnarly things, sliding up into heaven. And Monarchs, I suppose, have done good work to charge up their ultimates. They're going to have at least 3 into the next round. I'm honestly surprised to see Simulacra going for that one, just sending the Omen ult and getting canceled on one side and killed on the other.
Yeah, that was kind of unfortunate, but Mask, again, playing that round really well. Like you're saying, Rotten having phenomenal positioning and timings on their peaks to be able to enable that round. And then you see it instantly, Logic calling that flash for Rotten to kind of stay alive, and Snowy is being held as well. I think this defensive half has gone really well for Mask so far, so they don't need to change that much, which is why we're seeing Rotten back on this A site, still setting up with this Vice, and another mid-control fight here from Mask with that Odin on Swerve, just being able to put that pressure towards that mid. And now, slow default coming in from MOX makes sense. They're trying to get that information, baiting out that Vice wall towards A heaven with that Viper, still trying to get that information towards mid.
You know, I thought this was a bit of a problem with Monarch's attack back on Lotus, where they kept walking in to the area of the map that Mask were just stacked and fighting every time. Back on Lotus, that was C site. This time it's been 3 players in mid virtually every single round. And it's just so hard to break through here. Try to actually do with it. Again, the Odin in the corner. I don't really see the vision on it, especially because Fate has been able to lurk into A all the time. This A side is weak. Mask love leaving their Sentinel player on a complete island, and Fate has gone all the way through. There has to be some kind of a sense from Rotten that the possibility is here. But for Fate to find these openings consistently has been a blessing for Monarch.
The Nightfall
Can
coming
they convert
in
on it?
a little bit too early there, Ender.
Yeah, a little bit early. No one was actually there. 15 seconds just about. And now revealing the position. Luckily, Blair is right behind Fate, trying to provide some support. Just trading 1 for 1 off 2 ultimates ripped, as now Blair steps even further forward. 1 by 1, Monarchs head into the meat grinder that is Mask. And now they're up in full control to push on in on the retake. Chiyu flushed out and pushed into the corner. Snowy and Simulacra step up in a major way. Look at that. The Omen player, and now through the wall, Zoe nearly gets it done. Mayhem at the end, but Willow will take the win for MOX.
What a crazy round. That was so back and forth. Fate getting the most insane timing onto that A site, but then using that Steel Garden to fight into spawn. That was nice, but the trades were just so quick on everyone's end. And this is what I like to see from both of these teams, making sure that they're playing together, sticking together, and just scaling the site on their retakes together as well from Mask. But this round was the round where MOX won out because of their positioning. And here Logic going for an aggressive peek with the Sheriff, trying to make work of the eco.
Surely not, right? Okay, good trade from Willow.
The GC Sheriff.
And it's still here, and that is 2 rifles on the ground to be claimed by Mask. Zoe was just a little bit too far out there with the Marshal. See what Rotten can do with this Sheriff in hand. That's the first one pass, and oh my word. Very nearly the problem, and still it is. Because with 2 players alive, that is now a 2-on-2. Simulacra is on 15 HP. Shiu's got an outlaw. Misses the first shot. You gotta protect your planter. And now, without any bullets left, Mask just sees this round back to themselves.
These rounds are so quick to just flip over to either which side, and it's kind of insane. Mask winning that round just by getting active, getting aggressive, being able to get those picks. And that last couple of fights was kind of hard. I really like the aggression, though, and the confidence from Swerve to just go out. They hear that plant going down. They know that they can deny it. And it just worked out for their favor. And Simulcra, man, that flick onto the player in B Heaven was kind of insane and scary. And Blair going for a double satchel of Heaven and actually makes it?
Well, made it there,
really.
but only to find a nice plot of land for the grave. Rotten will land another one up in mail. As MOX make this dash to regroup on the B site. Still plenty of utility blocking their entrance in. Bait out the wall, but at the same time, that's an easy teleport across. Isolating themselves, but somehow with these pistols, Monarchs have won this right back for themselves. Spam out from Zoe. It's good control over Heaven, but in a couple rounds in a row, Simulacra has been excellent on the Omen. Now has that Vandal in hand. The lone rifle for Monarch, and doesn't even quite matter. Fate is so sharp with it. But Logic hears everything. Gonna hear the Omen teleporting to the other side. It was stuck and the plant comes in. At the same time, Fate heard those footsteps, making a run towards the other side. This time the plant is for Heaven. That's a key difference from the pistol round, when Fate also went for one of these very slow lurks back through spawn. Logic needs to clear this site quickly and put pressure on that spike to stand any kind of a chance here. And I think they've done enough. It's already a half stick, and it might even be the full. Sees that player now. Trying to bring them back out into the open, but Simulacra isn't gonna let it happen. A thrifty round for Monarchs as they stay right in it.
Thrifty after Thrifty is insane, but I think both these teams, this is what this elimination match is bringing out from both of them. That fight, the hunger to make sure that they're not dropping any of these rounds, even if they're on the low buys. I think from Mask, though, what I do like is when they know that the other team is on an eco, they're not afraid to play off of site, but it felt like these past few rounds, they've been playing on site, trying to hard anchor with players like Rotten and Snowy, and it's just been shut down so often because they're not in tradable positions. And I think that's something that both these teams are going to be talking about now. The timeout actually coming in from MOX, knowing that as Monarchs, they really need to be able to keep doing what they're doing on these thrifty rounds, but also doing them when they have these guns. A lot of poking and prodding, trying to get those initial picks while baiting that Vice util. It seems like they're also having a field day, just kind of ending on where Vice is, Ender.
Yeah, I mean, very consistently, the lurks have been moving on to that A side because of how passively it's been getting played. I think that's why, just checking the minimap, Mask are making some large adjustments here. They've been fighting almost exclusively over mid. Now I'd really like to see them continue to get aggressive. We saw the one round, I believe, with the Sheriffs that they were fighting down into ramp, but we can definitely see a little bit more.
I do think their aggression is really good, and I really like the way they rotate off of it, but it's just been so hard because, like you said, they're fighting for that mid, and they haven't been able to get that info right away.
Well, the Viper's Pit is going to be down mid. And here comes that aggressive walker. Contact for now. And here's a Vise wall. Primed pretty quickly by Swerve. I like this, though. It's really forcing Monarchs either clear through the pit. Not so easy. Well, I guess it is that easy.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah. Zoe threw a snake bite, and they instantly traced the sound of that one. Zeroed in for an easy kill. And that's got Rotten looking all sorts of ways. Not even convinced that players couldn't have snuck up into B Heaven already. So now Rotten is actually just laying these players out. Wait a second. Monarch never made it in with their duelist. Blair was just sent to their death. And now Monarch are trying to call some kind of a fake rotate that Mask have bitten on perfectly.
All 4 players rotating to this A site, but Fate has the positioning once again, Ender. Getting all that information, being pushed up towards that B heaven, and being able to catch one of these players off guard when they do rotate back to the site. But they do have a Steel Garden to fight this.
Perfect timing, but Rotten Spectre wins out regardless. Still, though, there's a Viper's Pit that Mask have to work back through, but with a Steel Garden, with Rotten surviving, that could be enough of a solution here. The question is, do any of these players have shorties? Did they buy shorties knowing that there was a Viper's Pit online? That would be the difference. Doesn't look like it. It's a classic, and it is brutal. Devastation as these players rip back into the site. No secondaries found, and it's Willow. In a one-on-one, it's Willow to win it out. Monarchs are down by 1.
What a crazy round. Again, these events just turning so quick every single time in the middle of the round. I think I have an idea of how the round is going to go, but then I'm just completely wrong at the end. That was really great calling from Monarchs. Now they know that the quick rotates have come in to play for Mask, and they're just abusing that. And they're using the sound cues to kind of bait out that rotates, fall back into these executes, re-hit a lot of the time when Rotten is on the site because they know they can bait that util out. Even though they're down numbers, they converted that round and got a Steel Garden out from Mask.
And now Rotten finds herself back on the A side of the map where it's been such passive control. Mask have just been relying on having the option to quickly rotate through mid to support on that side. And it's successful early on for Monarch to bait this utility, Athena.
Yeah, getting that Vice Wall is a big thing. But Mask, they're back to this mid control, swerve on that Odin. They haven't been really successful at doing much with it. But Rotten now in a hard place, but Zoe's here to help, holding their A heaven, and this time they do have assistance on this site to hold it. It's looking kind of scary.
And Monarch, they're only now grouping 4 players back into main. That's why they've been so slow, because they were working over towards B with their ability. Now Fate is stepping in really early. I mean, good enough to get 1 kill. And now Monarchs, they open up on the A side. That could have gone wrong very quickly for them. But now they're the ones in the driver's seat, quickly jumping down into the site as Logic Seekers push all these players out from heaven. Mask are working quickly back in here, not wasting a single moment, but it does not matter when Willow continues to put up some rounds like this. Excellent work from Monarchs. They've tied it up.
They have adapted so well. They know that Mask moves fast, and they're abusing those rotates, and they're abusing that sound cue to bait the rotations, because once again, they've done this really nice thing where most of the time when you have a really good lurk, especially towards that mid, you let the team, the group take contact first so that the lurker gets a good timing. But instead, Fate got the initial contact, forcing Mask to focus a little bit more towards that mid, and Rotten falling off of that spot towards A, getting caught off guard when falling back. It was kind of an insane round. And Monarchs, they're so back into this series, and I think they're fully understanding how to play this now. But the eco coming in from Mask, they have these sheriffs, and we know how these kinds of rounds go.
Could be a wake-up call from Mask, now that the score is finally tied. To lock in, tap into the success they found back on Lotus. I mean, it wasn't even close, but now putting up a great fight, increasing the pressure as well. Responding, ready for the extra swings, ready for the trades. Even Zoe comes in the last second there. You have Simulacra ready and waiting for it. I think the biggest difference on an individual level has been this Omen player. A complete turnaround from the performance on Lotus, Myrna.
Yeah, being able to just have really good positioning, following the duelist, and being able to get those trades as well has been really nice. But also, this game has just been so back and forth, and I think the resilience from Monarchs to not let that first game throw them off, because they're clearly come back into this with a vengeance. They're ready to fight. Rotten in this 1v3 trying to get one.
Irrelevant.
Oh, well, there it is. Clinical from the Vise player. And we'll just get in and out, an assassin in broad daylight. first time in this series, Monarchs have taken a lead.
This is so nice to see from Monarchs. We're now seeing that the complete 180 in these teams, because Mask now is struggling to adapt. They're still staying persistent on playing for this mid control even though it's not working out for them. And they're constantly over-rotating off of any noise, off of any contact. And it's allowing Monarchs to just get so much map control in ways that Mask don't even know because they don't have the information. As I say that though, they've switched this round up. Logic going for a little bit of an A aggression peak, getting that instant information, that blinded sound is gonna be sent. And immediately you see the proactivity with these two players towards mid, rotating towards this ropes. But this is what has gotten them to fall so far, Ender, for Mask.
Oh, Rotten is there as soon as the wall drops, and Logic as well. What a crazy gamble for Mask. They're playing 3 in vents, 2 on the A site, no one on B. Fate is like, what is going on here? What in the world is happening? Now a player rotates over, and it's exactly the perfect time, because why wouldn't it be? Finally, Mask have found their winning ways back again. Just that turnaround start. Simulacra left to hold down the line here, but it won't be had. Snowy ties things up 6 here between these two teams as we close out the first half.
Yeah, this is a lot better of a half than that first game, and I think for Monarchs, this is putting them in a really good spot. 6 rounds on attack is really nice, and they're looking to snowball these defensive rounds. I think, though, these players, they really need to focus on just being able to adapt to how fast Mask is going to be. So far, we've only seen them kind of be on that one speed of hitting or being able to just really quickly rotate off of any noise or after putting any pressure towards a site. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. But for this pistol, looks like Mask is going to be opting towards this mid fight, but look at who's there to stop them. 3 of these players from MOX towards this mid.
Our teams love mid in this map. There's just been all-out brawls consistently, and look at that, sort of connects on the stun. A little bit slow working into vents, but it works out. A kill traded back with paint shells in mid as Monarchs find themselves scattering away, ceding full control over the center of the map. Now just slowly working in. But Monarchs have repositioned 3 players onto this site. It's a good read from them on defense. Is now Blair ready for the wall to drop? And Mask filtering into the site. MOX trying to counteract this, but it's not quite working. Zoe gliding around there with the right clicks on the classic. Puts Chiyu into the clutch. Here's, I believe, both players back site. Chiyu not convinced though. Now turning around, it's high-low, crispy from Chiyu. What else do you have here on Rotten? Excellent work. Chiyu clutches up here in the big moment to take the lead once again. The Red Bull clutch for Chiyu.
This is amazing for them. They're feeling themselves, and I could tell based on just how they're positioning themselves and how they're taking these fights. What a nice, crispy shot, and it feels like so many of these players now are coming back online with their mechanics, showing us what they couldn't do on that Lotus game. They're proving it now on this split. And for Mask, almost closing it out, getting really good trades on site, doing what they do best, speeding up, accelerating, but doing it together and getting those pathings down almost to a T where they can just trade instantly. But of course, Monarchs, really well played by them and an insane clutch. We're looking at this mid fight again, Ender. What's better than the 3Ms? Mask, MOX, and mid.
We love those mid fights. How about that? Well, Mask looked to be the better ones this time around, actually. Zoe had forced up into a stinger and lurked into A. Look where Zoe is right now. She has gone all the way through screens on attack. It is ridiculous. She just kind of ran it down while her team was dueling it out in mid. Now Mask have upgraded. They've got a Sheriff. They've got 2 stingers. And they're going to have the spike already planted. And Mox's position is not so nice. Fate has an Outlaw to find an option on the retake where so many of these angles are so shallowly held. Fate's not going to have impact from back in screens. It's going to have to be this duo working on ramps, having to clear away Rotten unsuccessfully. The Bandit takes down one and just toys with the other. What a round out of Mask. Just pulling Willow away from the site. I don't even know if you have time at this point. You just got to try and recover this gun and find a way back into safety. Mask have pulled off something almost seemingly impossible, but all through that wild lurk Zoe went for. Willow not even going to live to tell the tale as Mask tie it up again.
Mask, their confidence is really showing through on rounds like these, and because they didn't actually fully force that last round, they're able to buy up 3 rifles to complement that Outlaw and that Spectre from the last round. So nice to see that from them, but how many times are we going to see these back and forths on these Thrifty rounds from both these teams? Going to be interesting, but MOX, their answer for this is just to stay in this default setup, hoping that Fate can hold down the site against this A. Paired with Chiyu, that info is going to be there. The eye is broken. They're just opting to contact in.
Chiyu spotted the bulk of this team and hurls out a seize. Keep these players stuck behind the wall for now. MOX have already moved 3 onto this side of the map, but it is just an array of upgraded pistols at the ready on the defense. Just taking their time for now, trying to discourage any form of information gathering. Once you see the Outlaw, there's no way you're going back for the jump peek.
Retrieving flash.
Just biding their time. Wonder what the Q is going to be for Mask. We have our Vise entering the site. Sort of just letting Rotten do that for now, but as we prime ourselves for the exec, it's actually a player caught with a cat in hand. Now the slide forward out of swerve.
Spike down
Takes down a second. The pistol's not standing much of a chance here
30 seconds
against
left.
the massive horde running into the site. And even there, Blair watches Zoe unload a full clip into her teammate. MOX completely held back for now. It's very nicely done in this post plan as Rotten knocks down a couple extra to finish off the round.
Yeah, Mask back in the lead now, 8-7. We're looking at Monarchs this round to bring it back, to kind of set themselves apart once again and make sure that they get a full understanding of how they want to play. Feels like their defensive half so far has been nice because they've won that pistol. They've had a couple of these rounds where they lost that Thrifty, but it's okay because they've got this rifle round. So far from what we've seen, Fate has been really good at holding sites, and they've played a lot together, not necessarily only focusing on mid. So a little bit of a switch up compared to Mask's defense side. I think for Monarchs here as well, Simularca is doing such a good job on that Omen. The positioning has been phenomenal. And I think the way that they've been fighting with the rest of their team has been really good. I'm kind of hoping to see a couple more nade tether combos at the beginning of the rounds, especially because, you know, Mask is kind of holding and then going and making and popping right away. So I feel like having that tether ready as soon as they see contacts off barriers, the beginning of rounds is going to be really nice for them. That being said,
pair up Blair and Chiyu and work them around the map together.
Yeah, exactly. Get that raise, get that fade going together, making sure that they're able to kind of just play off of each other, use util, re-peek at the same time, and make sure they're swinging together.
Well, we'll see coming out of the tech pause if we're going to have a chance to see that. I've been told someone's lagging. So that's the issue. Spoiler. Now you know. Now you know. You can tell your friends. Tell them that that's the reason we're stuck at 8-7 right now. Just hanging out before we jump back into it. I think it's worth just zooming out for a moment, reminding everyone that this is an elimination game. We have both of our teams sitting at 2 and 3 in the standings. Need to win this one and one more after that, and then you're going to qualify into the main event. And it's been pretty impressive to see Monarch bounce back after getting trounced on Lotus. Have kept it incredibly competitive throughout this second map. And yet, after losing that round 2, after they took the pistol, they are in danger if they lose this round of things starting to slip away from them.
Yeah, we don't want to see that happen again, because I think for them, they've been really creative on their attack side. They did a really good job of working the map and being able to pull those rotates from Mask. So you can tell based on the IGLing and based on what we're seeing happening around the map that they understand how Mask play. It's just a matter of the execution of it. And if they can translate that onto their defensive side as well, knowing that most of the time they will be hitting wherever they're putting that pressure, but also making sure that they're using their util to get that info early if they possibly can and setting themselves up for success. I think I'm looking at players like Swerve from Mask side to just be able to entry and be able to get a lot of those picks, because the first kills that we've seen on that last map on Lotus was kind of absurd. And I think going into this one, when you're sticking with the Neon, especially after those nerfs, you need to be using that wall a lot more, using that stun and being able to just bounce around and make space for your team. Even if you're not getting all the entries, still being able to just pull the focus, pull those crosshairs away from what's important happening behind them and allowing them to even get into that side.
Now we wait.
Oh, joy and rapture. We have audio. That means that our teams are running around and getting ready to jump back into the game. So if you told your friends we were paused, you should probably tell them again that we're hitting the play button, getting back into things. What's this? An operator now for Blair. We do have Blair and Chiu on the same site, but playing very far away from each other. Hard to combo up with that, but nicely done for Mask to pop this fight very early into the round. Even trying to keep Willow tucked around the corner, but Mask will end up shying out of the space.
Yeah, falling back into this B main, I think this is a really good shout because they know that all that information has been taken through the mid. They have to re-clear or they have to do some sort of setup. And we can see that happening. But what they don't know is that Monarchs has stacked these two players onto site already to hold for this B main execute.
Has a paranoia. But hard to play this position when stuns are flying in your face, when flashes are coming around the corner, and when Swerve and Snowy enter the site. An execution there, as now Zoe activates through mid. Willow's holding it, and that's going to mean Monarchs can turn their attention back into the site without the worry of the late backstab. Paint shells fly. Gonna push some players out into the open. But no fights to be found just yet. Connection out from Blair and one from Chiu as well. Monarchs drop in together. And now with that op turned into the corner, Snowy can't finish off the kill. And Swerve is playing off-site right now. Lands down onto 2. That's 3 left. Make it a 4th. Good God. A Red Bull clutch in the blink of an eye.
I said I was looking at Swerve, expecting them to do more, but I didn't think that they were just gonna go and get a 4K like that. That was insane. Using that Neon movement to slide back in and deny that defuse. That was insanely well played. I think for Mask, though, they need to figure out how these rounds are falling apart for them when they've taken the site so decisively. They know that there's some sort of flood coming in, or at least some sort of play in order to equalize these numbers and deny them from getting in those post-round positions, but they just weren't ready for it, and there were no trades online for them. I think a little change of pace here, starting towards that A site instead of starting towards that mid. But still grouped up.
It's about to go down. The wall falls, and so do Monarchs. Disaster for them. Remember that last round, that was one they needed to win. This map has started slipping away from them completely. Now, of course, they're forced onto the eco, so they'll take anything they can get at this point. Oh my God. Swerve got the kill behind. That was doing tricks on my brain watching Zoe run and gun for that one, but this is more like that Mask team we saw on Lotus. Just running MOX down round after round. Ceaseless out from them. And with these last few moments in the round, Monarchs are going to have to start asking themselves what adjustments they need to be making, because this next round now becomes do or die.
Yeah, they have to win this. They don't want to be in that position once again where they're on the 11th round and they're broke. They don't know what to do. They have to force in order to try to play for the win. It's happened 2 games in a row now. Sorry, 1 game in a row now, and they can't be doing that again. But this time, Ender, they have 3 ults online. They have the Viper's Pit. They have that Fatal and the Raze ult. They could go for an aggressive play here. As I say that, they're set up for this A main, possibly catching Zoe off guard. But they also have on the other side 3 ults to react really quickly with.
Early Prowler goes all the way up. And Blair in front of this smoke in no time at all. You can tell Zoe has some kind of a read on the situation. Knows something is up. 1 for 1 takes the showstopper out of the round. That's a success story for the attack side. Up in heaven, though, Snowy is also going to land one. This is a huge problem. Fade is out in the open as Rotten collects on the lurk. And all of a sudden, this must-win round. The Nightfall isn't going to be a factor. The showstopper doesn't even get a chance to be used. And Swerve is already pushed forward. Simulacra dancing on the edge of that corner. Now falls back up and trying to sprint in with the paranoia. If there's too many people here, there's just nothing you can do. MOX are trying to throw everything at this problem, but it cannot be solved. And another critical round slips away.
I talked about the fast tempo from Mask, and I think that's the round that I like to see from them, because Snowy is just following Swerve, allowing them to trade instantly. Swerve literally running it down as Neon, and they cannot be punished because Snowy is right there on their tails, ready to trade her and be able to get that initial pick. So really well played by them, and it's really well positioned by Snowy to just be able to keep up that tempo while also throwing down those smokes as the Clove. But Andrew, they have 5 ults here on this round, and it's the 11th round of the game where MOX find themselves yet again where they have to force into this. The good news is they're not that broke. They can get some judges, they could get a couple guardians if they wanted to, but it's still a hard round to win. They do have the showstopper though. They are able to go for something aggressive off of some sort of contact, but they really need to expect that Mask is probably going to be waiting for this and trying to bait it out with whatever util they have, especially when they have that Sky.
I mean, this is just such a difficult position to be in. They've lost the last 5 rounds in a row. And this is elimination territory for Monarchs. 2 more rounds lost and their Swiss stage is over. No chance to move through to the main event. And they're going to bank on a judge purchase from Blair and a full kit of sheriffs around it, Athena.
Wow, opting to go for that 12th round, trying to play for the tie. I think it hasn't worked out for them before when they have force, so this is maybe their kind of middle of the road understanding, but a little bit of aggression, faking it actually towards that A main, and they're trying to rotate really quick and just gamble stack towards that A or the B site.
Thing is, Mask are keeping their options open. Have 2 players playing extremity control on the other side while Swerve zooms up into B heaven. Just sticks around here while the team waits out the Vise wall. And now the Seekers give a clear path forward. Swerve moving behind them. Swerve is just in the enemy spawn and no more showstopper. They're going to A. It is all the way around the world for Mask. Getting creative on the calling now. Simulacra has dominated this half for MOX. There's some coverage from the back. Simulacra, what can you do here? 2 kills out of nowhere. It is massive from the Omen. Monarchs trying to stay in this, but there's pressure up in heaven. Players have knives out, and Rotten collects on both. Massive moves as Chiyu pushes back. It is a 1-on-1. A Phantom found now. But Zoe has slipped away into main. Zoe seals their fate as Mask move up to series point.
Oh my goodness, such a close round, especially because when you were looking at the minimap, you thought that Mask had the exact right reads, getting that pick, splitting towards that A site, knowing that there might be 1 player left alone, but Simulacra, constantly getting those insane picks that have kept them alive for so long. It should not have been a 1v1, but Monarchs putting in the work, making sure that they're getting it to that. And the delay from the util as well with that paranoia is really nice. But we're looking at this mid again from Mask. They've been leaning towards this on both sides, and some A aggression again from Monarchs here.
This time playing behind it. And Zoe doesn't want to deal at all. So all that space seeded and Fate just lays out Snowy in mid. Master instantly behind it. Fate thought there was a Vise wall to protect, but it was just completely disrespected. And now Willow stuck in the corner, traded down instantly. Monarchs swarm the rest of the map, but this allows Mask to set up in the post plant. Viper's Pit already down. And extra layers too with the Steel Garden as that second line of defense. A wall even guarding here in B main. Blair will trigger it and move back up into heaven. If there is a way in, it will be Blair Showstopper. Knowing their players inside of the pit. A scouting ultimate from the Omen. And Blair's a little bit slow behind it, trades it out. 2-on-2 now. The Steel Garden coming down at the final hour. Thorns onto the spike as well. The utility is perfect. And Zoe's still inside of the pit to see it through. Mask will eliminate Monarchs and stay alive here for one more series in this Swiss stage.
What a phenomenal game. That first map being so dominating, but the second one clawing it back once they realize that they've been adapted to. But it doesn't matter because these players are absolutely insane. The firepower, but I think the most important thing was the way that they were trading was so nice. The way that they had these little micro plans around the map. Even if the plan was just to aggress, there's always someone there to get the trade, to get some sort of information, or at least throw some sort of util behind